Hello, people of the internet. So, here we have a Bluetooth speaker. It's a Tronsmart. Now, I've just been given this. And I know they're quite good because my brother has also got one of these. And he recommended a friend he works with, a colleague, to get one because they're that good. So he went and got one, and this is his. However, he's now upgraded to something else, I'm not sure what. But the reason why he's getting rid of this one is because the USB ports has failed. So I'm going to go inside and have a look and see if I can repair the USB port. So I've already started the process of taking this apart. Underneath on the bottom there is two gel pads, each side, here and here. And underneath those there are two screws each side. Okay, well, as it turns out, I may have not needed to have taken off the bottom panel. It turns out that if you get a little blade or something in between the gap on the front, on the top cover, pry it a little bit and then pull it out. This is just a guitar pick that I used. You can get this off, but be careful, don't pull it too hard, because just here this little ribbon cable plugs into this little bit here. There's actually LEDs under here, I think. Is there LEDs? Oh, there is, yes. Interesting. And the board is right there. So looks like I have to take this plastic ring off here. Is there 6 screws in that? 8 screws in that? Yeah, 8 screws. That, then that. I may have to disconnect what looks like the power input from the battery, the built-in battery, and then undo the circuit board, and I should be able to get to the charging port then. Let's have a look. Okay, so my suspicion was correct. So you take the ring off and then you undo the circuit board. You slide the circuit board out this way. It tilts up very slightly and it's a bit of a wiggle, but don't pull it very hard. There is a tiny little microphone right here which sits just in here somewhere. Yeah, just down here. If you pull it too hard you will damage that, but the microphone does pop out if you just wiggle it out a little bit with a sharp implement. Okay, so the fault this has got is the USB ports. It only works when you hold it in a certain area, and it's just generally wear and tear. So I'm going to have a go at fixing this. It is surface mount, so I'm wondering if I can get away with just running my hot air soldering iron across that and getting it to work again. I'm just going to go and have a bit of a look with the magnifying glass and see if I can see any other damage that it's got. I can tell by the way it wiggles it's no longer attached to the circuit board anymore. The actual two main outer casings, there's two that hold it on each side, and they're not, the solder has suddenly broke away. Should be able to fix that, of course, just by reheating it again and adding extra solder. But it's the bits on the back that I'm worried about. Those very small little, there's 5 of them, little bits. But like I say, if I heat that up, it might, there's a chance it might fix it. The only other issue would be is if it's actually pulled the track off the circuit board, and then with it being wiggled a lot, it's eventually broken the track, in which case it's going to be very difficult to repair. But I should still be able to do something with it, at least get the charging side working, which is all I really want. I should be able to find somewhere on here where it is 5 volts, and if not, the battery itself is I think 7.4 volts on this. I could just tap straight into the battery leads, bring a wire out through here somewhere, and use that as a charging port. I don't think it would be very difficult to do, but yes, let's see what I can do. Okay, so my fears were correct. I've just spent a good probable hour worth of repair work on this thing. The tracks had sadly cut to this USB port, which is a damn shame, but I've I've managed to use my cheap Chinese solder rework station and my needlepoint soldering iron right here to get this thankfully giving voltage to the charge controller, which I do believe is that chip right there. It takes some bloody doing, I tell you. I'm using this thing as a magnifying glass, which sadly doesn't really magnify enough, but it's the best source of light and the magnification that I've got to hand at the moment. But I've managed to do it anyway. I've also beefed up this USB port a little bit by soldering it together at the bottom. It was only pressed together at the bottom with a line along the bottom of it, but now I've actually ran a solder across the bottom to actually hold it together to stop it from opening and closing, you know. So now when I plug this in and I plug it into power with the battery, I had one of the battery leads desoldered off just to, in case I shorted anything out in here, you never know. When I plugged it into USB power, it all lit up with the when I put the thing back on it again. So that tells me that it is now making a connection with the positive. It was the positive that had failed, and the positive track, I can't really zoom in using this camera very well because it's got a wide angle lens on it and it just goes out of focus, but I can try. There we go, I told you it would do that. There we go. So 4x zoom seems to be the best I can get. I'm probably getting closer maybe. So I haven't got anything sharp to show you what I'm pointing at. Let me try my thing. Okay, so the positive is on this side of the USB port, and the track comes out a little bit and then down here and runs into this little capacitor just here. That track had actually broke quite close, thankfully, to the main pin of this, the solder pin. I was able to scrape off some of the resin coating off the PCB, covering the track up, and managed to just bridge the connector. I did take this completely off the board to see how the damage was, and a lot of the central pins, which looks like it is for data sadly, have completely gone. There's none left at all. So it means I'll probably never be able to firmware upgrade this, but it still works, so why would I need to? Which is what my plan is. Or it's probably to talk to the memory card, maybe. I don't know. That side will never work again, sadly. I'll have to take the memory card out, put it in my computer, and then, you know, install the songs to, add the songs to the memory card rather than just plug it into USB. But at least now the charging side works. And my plan with this thing is going to be, when I have this all together again, there's just going to be a magnetic charge thing glued into this, not glued with super glue or anything like that, but glued with hot glue. That means I can heat it up and remove it if I ever need to again. So I use these magnetic charge things everywhere because they work so well. That's all they are, just nice simple magnetic loop. You just put your magnet onto it. I don't know if I've got any spare ones to show you. I haven't, but I've got one in the bottom of my phone. There, look. So if I just lay my phone here, I'm still in my pyjamas, hence the amazing trousers that I'm wearing. And oh, my cable just isn't long enough to reach, sadly. But let me just put this up on top of my solder station. There we go. Grab my cable again, and it just clicks on, and my phone starts charging. Beautiful. So undo. It's just like I say, magnetic charge, jumps. Works very well. I never use the USB port on my phone. Everything is done wirelessly on that thing. I've got a, it's hooked up to the Wi-Fi, and I transfer my WAP files to it wirelessly over Wi-Fi. Yeah, and retrieve them wirelessly as well. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Right, time to put it all back together again and see if it'll charge. With my luck, I do all this and it'll pack up. Yeah, I had to use the tester as well to see if I was actually getting good connection through. I even had to test when I pulled the USB port off. I tested to see if the two pins, the outer pins, which are the live and negative, actually had power on them. So yes, they did, so good. Okay, I'm impressed by how many capacitors there is in this thing. They must be for the two speakers. Quite big. Generally, the bigger the capacitors, the better the audio, and they are quite large. One of the modifications you used to be able to do on the old iPods, although it makes them horrifically large, is remove the original capacitor, which was just a little surface mount thing, and put two big ones on, and bring them out of the actual case of the iPod and glue them to the back. And apparently people used to get such amazing quality sound out of those things. I've actually got quite a few of those little iPods, the 5th generation ones, the video ones. Quite interesting little things. Anyway, enough talk, let's put this back together again. Okay, so on top of my sugar keg right here, I have put the speaker there. I'm just going to put the magnetic pickup on the back, and the mode light comes on, which is good. I'm pretty sure that means it's charging. I'm not 100% sure, but I think my brother's just messaged me on WhatsApp. Hang on a minute. Yeah, so there you go. We have it. Cool. So that means it's charging. That's great. Let's see if it turns on. I've not actually tried the on yet. Oh, look at that. That's fantastic. Sweet. Okay, now pretty sure that's the NFC symbol, so let me just turn my NFC on and see if I can get this thing to actually connect to my phone. Okay, quick look on the online manual as to how to get this thing to work, and sure enough, I've managed to get it to work. As you can tell, I'm quite happy about it. If I press play on my thingy, I don't know if this is a what do you call it, a copyright song or not, but it's an old .sid file from the Commodore 64. Here, let me just play this to you. Does work quite well, and the volume works well too. Very nice. No distortion whatsoever. So, got myself a Bluetooth speaker now. I've been after one for quite some time actually, but now I have one. I don't know what to do with it. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to use it when I get my camper van on the road. So, that should be it. Thank you all for watching, and I shall catch you on the next video. Peace out.